Okay, everybody, you've heard me talk about her a couple times. Introducing my beautiful wife, Melissa. She's going to talk a little bit about what it's like being the significant other of somebody with MPD DID. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions. Did you want to say anything first?
Oh, go straight to it. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, when I first told you about the MPD, what was your initial reaction?
Um, well, I guess it was mostly interested. I mean, I wanted to make sure that you didn't have weren't all crazy Sybil hurting yourself kind of damage, but um, what?
Now, would you say that that initial idea about hurting myself and whatnot, do you think that came from the way the media portrays MPs or people with DID?
Well, I mean that's part of it. Generally, the sensationalized media version of MPD is, a little more of a schizophrenic look, really. More of a, uncontrollable swings and losing time and stuff like that. And but not as much usually damaging yourself. It's just confusion, a lot of confusion it seems to be. But I was a little worried because I had already seen the scars on your arms.
Right.
So, but we hadn't talked about those really much. Um, so I thought initially maybe that might have something to do with it, but
You thought I was self-injuring?
yeah, maybe could have been. But they looked old, so and I didn't see anything that looked recent, so I wasn't terribly worried. But I had my bets hedged, I guess, for the first little while until I felt like I could trust you.
Do you think that I unnecessarily built up the idea of MPD or DID?
Absolutely. Oh my god, you made it seem like your head was gonna like pop off and spin around and launch into space and shit. You were just, it was just you, just not you. I was expecting you to like, that's a real kind of a leather face sort of a thing, but nah, no big deal.
And who was the first alter that you met?
The first one I met was Richie. Richie. And it was fun, just, he's a very gay man, and we talked mostly. I guess that's all we did. Just hung around and talked.
Did you feel nervous?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like meeting a new person. Just being introduced to somebody who's heard an awful lot about you, but you don't really know anything about them. So I'm like, who is this stranger? Glad you know so much about me. Freaky. They're all watching the tube in there. Like I've been on a reality show and everybody knows everything about me and and I don't know anything about these strange people being all like, hey, Alyssa, nice to meet you. How's that gum disease? What? Who are you and why do you know these things? It's just weird.
If somebody were venturing into a new relationship and hadn't told their significant other about their MPD or DID, what is some advice you would give them?
Well, I guess, you got to be honest about it, because it's not like they're not eventually going to wonder why you maybe miss appointments or talk strange or, things. If you don't have cooperation among your alters and everybody's not working together and doing their, working as a team and moving through life and getting things done, they're going to notice eventually. If y'all spend any time together, they're going to notice that eventually you've missed stuff or say things that are strange or have these weird accents you don't seem to want to just drop and go back to regular, But, even things like doing your hair differently and walking differently and different facial expressions or reactions to stories and stuff like that are just a little bit different. But it's, don't don't build it up into a big thing. Don't make it a huge big story like, oh, okay, don't freak out. But I got this thing. It's like you're not like you're into hard drugs. It's just a thing, and it's how it is, and they deal or they don't. But if they're not going to deal, then that's not somebody you need to be with.
As far as experiencing it day to day, what is it like for you?
It's really not that big a deal. At least, with yours, there's a lot of cooperation with your altars. So, I mean, you guys, you go to work, you come home, you eat, you sleep, you do regular stuff. I can imagine that if it was new or there wasn't cooperation, that it would be a lot more difficult, or it could be a lot more difficult, just with trying to keep everybody straight and making sure somebody's not going a little crazy with the check card and stuff like that.
Is that something that has been an issue?
We had a little bit of binge shopping every once in a while. Things will be showing up from Amazon, but not too bad. And that's usually only when there's been some kind of big stress in the life where you do some pity shopping. But yeah, I mean everybody's pretty good about respecting our relationship and our budget, and not wandering off and disappearing for days at a stretch or anything like that, because you'd said that you had done things like that in the past.
Yes.
Lost time and woke up in the Chicago airport and
Yes.
things happen,
Suddenly there was a big wad of money. Didn't know where it came from.
I love that story. And but
that's not one for the PG crowd.
But